My name is Keith Hammonds. I'm Director of Ashoka's News and Knowledge program. I would like to thank, first of all, our friends at Fast Company for letting us hang out in this extremely cool space this evening. They provided the sunset and everything. That's very good. And I'd like to thank you all for joining us on what is an incredibly crowded week in New York City. You probably know the United Nations General Assembly is opening. This week we have the Clinton Global Initiative, of course. It is advertising week. I've been told tonight is the TV News Emmy Awards. And of course the Atlanta Braves are in town for the big September series with the Mets. So only the baseball fans are laughing. Sorry, Chuck. So we've asked you here tonight to meet some of our newest fellows in the news and knowledge field. If you have met social entrepreneurs before, you know that meeting them can be an exhilarating, daunting, and completely humbling experience. Because social entrepreneurs are not like the rest of us. They see unimaginably big social problems, and they don't throw up their hands. They see profound opportunity, and they attack that opportunity with incredible intelligence, passion, and typically very small resources, which is where Ashoka comes in. Specifically, these fellows in News and Knowledge take on problems of press freedom and human rights, access to information, new forms of storytelling, inadequate capital structures, and many other problems which we'll hear about soon. And their work inevitably tells us something profound about the future of this field, the future of news and knowledge. When we look at this field, and this News and Knowledge program has been around now for a year and a half, a big part of what we're doing is in fact intelligence gathering. And we are trying to answer 4 basic questions. First, and probably foremost, how is the information user changing? If we look at the graduation of people from the passive former audience to a much more active, participative information citizen, how will that play out? And what does that mean for the media organizations that are emerging to serve and partner with that user? Second question, what are, of course, emerging technologies that will complement and address the changing needs of those users? We've entered into this wonderful, magical time where information can get to nearly anyone at unbelievably low cost. And we have to understand better at Ashoka and the rest of the world how that will play out. The third question, we want to understand how the first 2 trends, changed information user and changing technology, jive with the traditional values that we've embraced, like dedication to accuracy, accountability, privacy, security. And fourth question, what is the emerging system that will create a continual engine for entrepreneurship in the field? How will we create incentives that effectively reward innovation in news and knowledge? So tonight, in 20 minutes, we're going to answer all 4 questions. We've brought together the 3 new fellows, and we've asked each of them to talk briefly about the idea at the heart of their work that says something central about the future of news and knowledge. An idea from the future, to borrow this classic Fast Company lingo. I worked here too long, probably. An idea from the future. And I'd like to start with Juanita Leon from Colombia. I actually met Juanita close to probably a bit more than a year ago in a little cafe here here in New York City. And at the time, I think you were just finishing up a Neiman Fellowship. Juanita had been a top investigative reporter in her native Colombia, as well as a reporter for Wall Street Journal's Latin American edition. And she had this idea for a web platform that would be something between Huffington Post and ProPublica, would bring together an A-list community of bloggers on politics, but also would add deep independent political reporting. So that sounded good. That sounded pretty ambitious. And sure enough, she has pulled it off. Vacía, the empty seat in English, launched 5 months ago, has quickly gained traction in Colombia by doing exactly what she had promised, by bringing authoritative political investigative reporting together with leading-edge bloggers from across the spectrum of politics, economics, human rights, and the social sphere. Importantly, the voices that she's been approaching are leaders of the future, leaders of Juanita's generation, who will be defining what happens in Colombia for the next 30, 40 years. Juanita? I meant to say, so in 5 months, Juanita is now, Vacía is now up to 57,000 distinct users a month, which is just incredible traction in that time. Juanita, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you, Keith. Thank you for being here. This is really exciting. Keith asked me to focus on what's the innovation, and I come from a country where there is a huge monopoly on the information and a huge media concentration. So what I've been trying to do with La Silla Vacía is to decentralize information and to end with the, not to end, but to get closer to ending to the mediation of the journalist. What I've been calling it transparent journalism, and what I want to do is to show users not only the, okay, that's La Silla Vacía, but the kind of stories that I'm trying to tell is a story where you show the story inside out, like the seams and the stitches of the story by showing the reporting process. So you can include, if you go to the next. So, for example, this is a story about 2,000, the army killed, in the last 5 years, 2,000 young people and presented them as guerrillas killed in combat. So I reconstructed the whole story, showing all the documents that I used to produce the story. So users have access to the raw information, and I think that's one of the futures of journalism, is to really give users access to raw information. So they can read the story, but they can also read the raw information. And I guess that in the US that doesn't sound so extraordinary, but in Colombia, having access to these confidential documents and things that shouldn't be confidential is quite important, because this concentrates power over information. It helps citizens get engaged in politics because they can use those documents for whatever they want. It strengthens the credibility of journalism. In Colombia, there are a lot of conspiracy theories about everything, and the media is part of the conspiracy. So I thought that if we started doing stories like that, people will judge by themselves how solid the information is, and they will recover some of the faith in journalism. And third, I think that this is a truly web narration, because it gives the user the elements to guide her own analysis, to add information to the story, and to use it to exercise its rights. And I believe in La Silla Vacía that we are not telling stories, but we are narrating contexts. You know, that it's important to give contextual that more than the stories, you should give context, especially in a country like Colombia where things happen all the time, like amazing stories. You lose track that most of them are just like 3 stories and that are episodes of one big story. So I think in this way, we can give the whole context to users. So.